Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be drawing a graphite portrait in my Strathmore toned gray sketchbook paper. I got the reference photo from Pinterest and I'm going to leave it up for the duration of the video so you can either sketch along with me, which I would absolutely love, or you can just hang out, which I would love that either way, up to you. This paper is one of my absolute favorites to draw graphite on now. It's just a nice starting mid-range. You can get some beautiful shading. The paper is so smooth. And once you get past the hairy man-chest fibers in it, it's an absolute pleasant experience to draw on. And you can add a little bit of touch of white like I do at the end on the eyes, and it just pops. And also this sketchbook, I believe it's 6x8. It's a perfect size for doing like these little portraits and stuff because you can get just the right amount of detail in without it being such a big piece that it's taking you like days. I did stick kind of close to the reference photo this time. I wasn't really going for likeness. I just really liked where all the shadows were and how it was mapped out, and everything like the planes of her face were just pretty clear. And I love her expression. It's like really calm and she looks almost like angelic. Her features are also really nice and soft, and like her lips are really pillowy and puffy, and that's been one of my favorite things to draw lately. I used to really struggle with lips, but I find that if you're struggling with an anatomy, it just means that you need to practice more. And one of the things that I used to do when I was younger is I would just draw like certain features over and over and over and over. You know, like eyes. I would draw eyes over and over and over in my sketchbooks, on my homework, on when I'm doodling, trying to, wait on hold on the phone, and ears. Ears were hard. Everything that's a struggle to you, it just means that you just need to practice it a little bit more. So when I'm drawing in graphite, my process is basically to map everything out with my smudge tool. Like, where is everything going? The features, where do I want them to sit on the paper? And then I come in with a really light pencil, like an F or a 2H, and just lightly kind of define the features a little bit more. And then I'll come back in with that sketch tool or the smudge tool and kind of soften it all out and add some more tone. And it's constantly just a back and forth of adding some tone and some shading and some values, and then coming back in and tightening it. I just keep repeating this process until the end, until it's got the depth and it's not looking so flat. It's looking how I want it to look. You can really get some really nice dimension by doing it this way. And throughout the entire process, even when I'm trying to layer on some darker values, I'm not pushing hard with my pencil. As long as I'm keeping a light hand, I'm going to be able to lift up and adjust anything I need to, especially when I'm doing it this way with the smudge tool. I can keep kind of like shifting things, and it's constantly evolving into something different. It's more like sculpting with paint than it is with drawing. As you can kind of see, I'm not really drawing the hair like traditional hair. There's no single hairs. There's only some sections that kind of looked interesting, and I kind of just pulled them out and emphasized them a little bit more. I've been finding lately that it's really useful for me to have like a goal in a drawing. Like, what do I want to get out of this drawing? Of course, I want to draw something pretty, but at the same time, I also want to work on something that's gonna increase my skills as an artist. And with this one, I really wanted to work on values and the planes of her face and really getting across that calm, serene, like expression that she's got going on. A while back, I'd been a part of a Facebook group where I shared some portraits, and somebody had said something along the lines of, okay, we get it. You can draw a calm, pretty face, but can you do anything else? Like, they're like trying to imply that because I draw calm expressions that, maybe my skills aren't up to their standards. And I think that's one of the things that's really important to talk about is the criticism that you get from other artists and the criticism that you give yourself. People's criticism, everybody's got an opinion. And it doesn't really matter if you feel a certain way about your art. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, because if it's making you happy, then you are doing a good enough job. If you are working on your skill sets, then you are doing a good enough job. There are people who just like to be miserable and say horrible things, not really horrible things, but just they don't really think about things, what they're saying and how it can affect people. I'm one of those people who tends to be a little sensitive about that kind of stuff. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody telling me, oh my gosh, you're so good, you should keep doing that. Like everybody kept telling me that it was a waste of paper. Stop drawing on this, stop doing this, stop wasting your time, etc. And then when I turned 16, I moved in with my dad, and he was the first one that really was like, oh, so you like art, and then he picked me up, so many amazing art supplies and stuff, like this one portrait book. I'll have to share it sometime. It really skyrocketed my skills as an artist, because this was before the internet. We're talking like early 2000s. It was before you could like easily find what you wanted to find on the internet. So I would sit there for hours doing the exercises in the books and just continually practicing the eyes and nose and mouth and the placement and different head angles and hair and ears. And I guess what the point I'm trying to get across is, number one, when you're posting online, you kind of do need a thicker skin, but at the same time, surround yourself by people who encourage you and say nice things about your art and appreciate it. And you don't need the negativity of other people in your life anyways. If you're being hard on yourself, I'm definitely guilty of that. Like a lot of the times I do not feel like I'm good at anything. Like there's sometimes when I get done with the drawing and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then I come back at it and I look at it the next day and I'm like, oh, so I don't know how to draw anything apparently. But we just have to be kinder to ourselves. I saw a thing the other day that was like, if being hard on yourself works, it would have worked by now. So as you can see in the drawing, I am using a graphite pencil. It's a mechanical pencil, but it's got Faber-Castell 2B lead in it, and it really helps me get some really fine, dark details without having to press too hard. It's only 2B, but it's just as dark as, like, I'd say 6B or an 8B, if not darker. Some of my goals in art lately are just making, like when I'm shading, my goal is to do like a smooth gradation from dark to light and try to apply that like everywhere. Like in the shading across the nose that I'm doing right now, it's a smooth blending gradation. Like I don't want any harsh lines, and I want everything to be as soft as I can get it. In the eyes, here's another thing. Sometimes, like in this portrait, I like drawing my eyes without a pupil. There's a really weird reason for that, but it's cool to me. My cat is blind in one eye. He didn't used to always be blind, but anyway, he's blind in one eye, and instead of having like where you can like see his pupil, it's kind of like milky and glossed over. Like if you look up a blind cat's eye, you can see what I'm talking about. And I don't know, for some reason, I think that is one of the coolest looking things. Like I add that to almost all my portraits now. It kind of just makes it look like, I don't know, like an opal or almost like an ethereal kind of vibe. As the drawing progresses and I start adding more details, as you can see, the last smudge tool that I used, they keep getting progressively smaller. I don't need to use the big, huge one anymore because I'm not trying to get a big area of tone or color down. I'm just trying to get, this tiny little area smudged out and blended out. Also, as you can see with the hair, I'm not trying to draw every section out. I don't want it completely rendered. That's another thing that I'm working on, is not over rendering, because I kind of have a habit of doing that too, where I want to add detail all over the piece and it just really doesn't need it. I'm also not trying to get the hair as dark as it is in the photo. That's another thing where I'm taking kind of like creative liberties, I suppose. I want the main focus to be on her face, like the eyes and the nose and the lips, and just a few sparing sections of the hair can be detailed out. One of the reasons that I love working in graphite is because you don't have to worry about color. You're just working on your values, and even with color, values make such a huge difference in how it looks. And graphite is such a beautiful way without the stress of picking colors and cool and warm and all that. I'm horrible with colors. They are intimidating to me. I think some people have like a really great sense of color. My sister, she has an amazing sense of color, but other people like me, we kind of have to work at it. And that's another thing I'll be doing in the near future, is working on a lot of color pieces. I've decided this year is the year to stop being afraid of everything. I hate to say it, but yes, I am afraid of using color because for some reason it just does not click with me. So I'm watching a lot of color theory videos to kind of help me out with that, and doing little exercises to practice with it. It is helping. The next video that I'm going to be editing and posting is a figure study, and it is in colors, but they're monochromatic, basically, with like a little bit of color. Anyway, you'll see it when it gets out. It's a cool video, but the one after that is I'm working with markers, so that's my goal, is to just keep working with colored pencils and markers and using up all these supplies that have been basically just sitting here because I've been so afraid of wasting them that I don't get to enjoy them. That actually keeps me up at night sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, what if I fall asleep and I don't wake up and I didn't get to use any of my art supplies? I have a cup of Faber-Castell pencils that have been sitting on my desk for 10 years. I just looked up the receipt the other day, and it's been 10 years since I bought them. I used to participate in these colored pencil contests where they would give you a gift card if you won to Jerry's Artorama, which amazing store, by the way. If you can get your art supplies from an actual art supply store instead of like Amazon, not only is Amazon, evil, but they just don't package the supplies the way they need to be packaged, like colored pencils. I purchased a big, huge thing of colored pencils, and they were no good because they're just not packaged right. They were like shook all to hell, and all the cores were broken. So every time I try sharpening them, you can't. They just keep breaking apart. Anyway, so I'd won one of these gift cards, and I normally I can't afford to spend $100 on colored pencils any other time, but what are you going to buy at an art supply store, right? So anyway, I bought $100 of Faber-Castell pencils, and I just, like I said, for 10 years, they've been sitting here, and I haven't even gotten to enjoy them. And I've also been cleaning out my desk and seeing just all these supplies. I won a bunch of Derwent pencils in another contest, and I also didn't want to waste them, and that stops now. That stops this year, people. Use up your art supplies because I'm going to be using mine. I want to draw everything. Flowers, landscapes, people, illustrations. I am going to have some videos coming up in the future where I sketch something and then I take it into Procreate or Fresco. I don't know if you guys know Adobe Fresco. It's a free drawing app on the iPad, and you can use vectors. And when you're doing digital work, like where you put it on a t-shirt, or not digital, I'm sorry, printing work, you really want to have vectors because you can size them up or down and the quality remains the same. Like when you have something that's done with pixels, like Procreate, say, when you scale it up and down, it gets fuzzy because it's made with pixels. Another big thing that I'm trying to change is doom scrolling. I am the worst at doom scrolling. I try to watch like happy stuff, like drawing and animals and, bees. Oh, I love stuff about bees. I keep bees now. I don't know if you guys know that, or if I have shared that yet, but I keep bees and it is the best. But I am trying to stop doom scrolling. It is really affecting my mental health. And from now on, if I have time to doom scroll, I have time to bust out my sketchbook and work on, my art skills, my drawing skills. No more excuses. Speaking of drawing skills, there are a few artists that I've been watching lately that have been huge in my progression, and that is Loish, of course. She's got plenty of free resources on her Patreon, so check that out if you can. Chris Hong, she's got amazing resources, both free and paid for. Loish is more of like a digital, and Chris Hong is more like colored pencil and pen and watercolor and gouache, I believe. Just a whole bunch of good stuff, really. As we're nearing the end of this portrait, I do grab my white Prismacolor colored pencil. Gosh, that was a lot to say. You can use colored pencil or pastel. I love using pastel, and you can even use soft chalk. I just usually grab whatever is closest. It's just handier. It doesn't really matter. They all do great, and they all pop out beautifully on this paper. Watching this back as I'm editing it, I am loving how those lips turned out, like the little cupid's bow. People Botox the hell out of that, and I think that's so sad because it's such a cute little feature. I'm super happy with the way these eyelashes turned out. Normally I overdo them because they're really fun to do. And even though my sketchbook isn't that big, I still managed to get graphite all over my hand and all over the paper, so I had to clean that up. I don't think you're really working with graphite if you're not making a huge mess and it doesn't end up all over the side of your hand. I don't know. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. I say 1,000 times in a video and I post every week. I will see you guys next time. Bye.